Yeah, so good afternoon. I think last week we used a past paper. Is it true? Last week, I think we were using a past paper. Right as an Ezekiel.
Yeah, we will use the
Last week,
past paper.
yeah, because we are doing the syllabus. I think that we are, maybe I
Yeah.
can. Do you have a, no? Maybe you can inform me before what I've decided today. I think that I've decided to
Yes.
remind you. I think that, for example, maybe I can take the first three topics. I just explain them. I think as you reason. Maybe you can ask a question. I think that
Yeah.
I will just explain. I think that because I know we have covered everything. Yeah, maybe before I do that, maybe you can give me the areas you have a problem. Yeah, maybe just inform me. Maybe the major areas you have a problem.
I think the past teachers who handled us, they never gave us the full course outline or really went into details about things. So maybe we can
Especially
start
the
from there.
introduction.
Yeah.
That is good. Actually, what I even had decided, I had
Yes.
decided to, yeah, because I came late together. So I have been decided today. I will start from the
Yes.
introduction, the first two topics together. I will take you through. I will sort you that. Then
Okay.
maybe the course outline is always posted together on the platform. Maybe you have never seen it together. It is always there. Just confirm on this platform. It is there. It's posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is there. Maybe what about titles? What about titles?
It's there, mwalimu, nimeiona.
Yeah, it is there. So I've decided maybe we just reason. I have decided, for example, maybe I can start with the computer system. I think that's a topic computer systems. Siko. Do you have that topic here, computer systems? Yes,
No.
Ah,
No.
I'm saying we have computer
eh.
systems together. About, for example, about the computer generation, what is a computer, generations, classifications, properties, together.
That's the first topic.
The first topic is supposed to be ICT. I'm saying there's a topic concerning that. The first one is ICT.
Yeah, we have
Yeah, because
the
the first one
computer
is ICT. Is
generation.
it true? Yeah, maybe I can start the first one. I think that there is what you call the ICT. The first one, so you have the ICT, the first topic.
Aye.
What, you don't confirm the course outline? Just confirm the course outline there. Whereby we have the introduction to ICT. Ezekiel, have you confirmed?
Yes.
Umeiona? Yeah. So I'm saying your first topic you're supposed to have, is it an introduction to ICT? What is ICT? What is communication? Is it true? What is technology? Together, all that. Is it true? Yeah.
Yes.
Ezekiel.
Yes.
Ezekiel and writers. Why you absent when that topic was being covered? Maybe in case you're absent, just inform me. Maybe I can take you through.
I wasn't there for that class.
Yeah, it is okay. Oh, you were absent that time. Together.
Yeah.
It is okay. Maybe I can take you through. It is okay. What about Ezekiel?
You can take us through.
Yeah, let me just take you through the first one. I think that, yeah, this is what I said. It's good. At least I know in case you're absent that time, maybe I can take you through together. Let me just take you
Yeah.
through as part of the revision. Then maybe I can even post them together because we had covered them last time. Is it true? I think this one was supposed to be covered last time. Is it true? And I think
Yes.
Mr. Yahuma covered that. I think Mr. Yahuma covered that. So what I can do now, maybe I can take you through. I'll take you to the introduction in case you never covered. Then maybe I can post the notes for you together. I'll post them
Okay.
immediately. At least you see them together. I'll post them immediately.
Okay.
Yeah. So the introduction, what
Okay.
you're supposed to know, yeah, as part of the revision, you're supposed to know what is ICT together. What is ICT? And some terminology is using what in ICT. For example, what is ICT? Let me ask you, what is ICT according to you? What is ICT? What is ICT according to you in your knowledge? In your own knowledge, what is ICT? Ezekiel, what is ICT according to you? And Titus, what is it? What is ICT according to you?
I'd say it's an acronym for Information Communication Technology.
Yeah.
Which covers things to do with processing of information, communication, and how technology relates to it all.
Yeah, that is correct. I think that is good together. So when we talk about ICT now, it means what? Information communication technology together. And now this technology that is required for information processing. For what? Information processing. Because what happens now in the computer, we key in data together. That data is processed to have what? Information. Understood? Together. Yeah. Still, in ICT, it entails the use of what? Computers together. And these computers now, they must be what? Electric together. So they use what? Computers. We have what? Communication devices. For example, in terms of communication, you can have what? The Wi-Fi card together. You can have what? The routers. Still, this is what? Software applications that are able to convert, store, protect, process, transmit, and retrieve information in where together. That is what ICT. You have seen that is what several areas. That also whatever devices. You can have software applications. You can have what communication devices. You can have other devices which are used to do what to process information. That is what ICT. So you must be remembering it has three things. You have information together. You have information. Then you have what communication. And you have what technology. So when we talk about information now, information it is that data that has been processed and has a meaning. Understood? Information is that what? That data that has been processed and has a meaning. Remember, what we do in a computer, we key in data using what the input captures, and this data is not processed. So once it's processed now, we can have what information, and information is used in decision making. Understood? That is what we call information, and we can have types of what information. For example, in the management level, we have three levels of management: the top level, the middle level, and what operational level. In these three levels of management, we have what different information. For example, at the top level of management, we can have what we call strategic information. Then in the middle level, we can have what we can have tactical. Then you have what operational what information. Then there is what we call communication. Whenever we talk about communication now, this is the act of transmitting messages, or we can say still, it is a mechanism that is used to convey information from one person to another person together. And this, in terms of computers now, this communication or this transmission must entail the use of computers. For example, we must have the internet. Is it true? For example, in case I want to send you an email, or in case like you're having what video conferencing, we are communicating. We must have what the use of the internet. That is what you call communication. The act of what transmitting what messages. Then there is what you call technology. That is what you call what technology. So technology now, this is the use of what scientific knowledge, experience, resources that can be used to create processes and products that fulfill human needs. Remember, technology is a vital resource in communication. There is no way we can communicate between different parties unless we have technology. And I think you have seen nowadays everything is technology. You have seen technology has been used in what in hospitals, it has been used in banks, in what learning institutions. That is every is of technology. Understood? Understood?
Yes.
Is what about Michelle Olo? Good afternoon, Michelle. Good afternoon. So I was inquiring before you came in. I was inquiring maybe the areas you have a problem. Maybe you cannot fit. I was inquiring that because you have been revising. I would like to know the areas you have a problem because it doesn't exactly have informed me. I would like to know which topic. Yeah.
Let me check.
So once you just do this, once you check them, you can just inform me together.
Okay.
You just inform me. Yeah. Were you present when the introduction was being covered? Yeah, maybe you can proceed now. That is what we call information, communication, and technology. And in ICT, there's some terminologies you always come across them. There's some terminologies you always come across them. For example, there is what we call the hardware. The term hardware, you always come across them in ICT. So whenever we talk about hardware now, hardware, this is what? Hardware is these are the physical and the tangible components of a computer. For example, in a computer, we have the motherboard. It is tangible. It is something we're able to see and we can touch. We have what? The monitor or the actual display unit. Something we can do what? We can touch. So these are the physical and the tangible components of the computer. Then another terminology in ICT, there is what you call softwares. You know very well, a computer must have what? Some softwares. We can have what? An operating system. It is a what? It is a system software. So software now, these are programs together that help together or a set of instructions that govern the operation of a computer. Later we shall discuss the classifications of softwares because now the same softwares now they can be categorized. Because they can be what? They can be categorized either application softwares or what we call the system softwares. Then still another terminology there is what we call data. I think I've explained it and I've said data, these are the raw facts that has no what? Has no meaning. These are the raw facts that has no meaning. And we said you key in data using what? The input captures. For example, we can have the keyboard. We can have what? The keyboard. We can have the mouse. We can have a scanner together. Or we can have what? A microphone. And then you can see that all these devices, they are used to do what? To key in the information. Understood? Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
You, see, you must be present because I have to ensure I have to ask you some questions because some of you might sleep, so I have to ensure I'm asking questions. Yeah, I want even to be present here. Remember, this is just a normal class. Understood? That is what you call data. And you have explained information. Then there is what you call the input captures. The input captures. And I have said these are the devices that I used to do what? To key in the information. Then there is what you call the output captures. From the word output now you can see they are used to output or to display information from the storage to the computer. For example, you can have what? Like a monitor. A computer monitor or what we call the VDU. The visual display unit is able to display what? Soft copy information. Still, we can have the speakers. These speakers now they are used to output the sound. They used to do what? To output the sound. Then there is what we call a system. You always come across the term system. So let me ask you even before I proceed. What is a system? What is a system according to you, Titus? What is a system? What is a system according to you?
A system.
Yeah, a system according to you. Or maybe you can just give us an example of a system. Yeah.
Right.
You are calling the Lord.
System, yeah, electronic device, ama.
Yeah, I'm asking now. There is the term system. And you have ever realized, like now there's a system. Is it true? We have a ZTEC system together. The
Yes.
school portal. That is a system. Is it true? So I'm asking, what is a system according to
Yes.
you? Yeah, what is it? Any idea?
A set of things, I think, that work together. A system, procedure flani hivi.
That work together to do what? To achieve what? A certain objective.
A certain goal.
What about Ezekiel? What is the system? Yeah, that is correct. What about Ezekiel and Michelle? What is the system?
I could say a system is a group of integrated parts or units or components which work together to achieve a common objective.
Yeah, everyone is correct. That is correct. So a system now it can be what? That set of integrated right together or integrated components that work together to attain what? A certain objective. For example, you can have what? A school management system. You can have a hospital management system. You can have what? A computer-based information system right together. That is what? The term say system. Then we have what we call, we have some facilities subsection, apart once we are doing the what with terminologies, I want to discuss now some of the equipment, or what we call the ICT equipment, or the facilities that are found in what in organization in relation to what ICT. One of the equipment we need is a computer. Is that what a computer? A computer. And I believe everyone you know what is a computer. Michelle, what is a computer? Michelle. Michelle, what is a computer?
Sorry, I'm having difficulties in hearing you.
Yeah, I'm asking what is a computer?
Oh, a computer.
Yeah.
Well, a computer is an electronic device for
Yes.
storing and processing data.
That is a good guess. So we can say a computer now is a device together. That device it is used to do what? To accept what data together. Once it's able to accept data using the input captures now, it is able to process together. It is able to process now. You can have what information. Once that information has been processed now, it can even store. Because it can even what? It can even store and retrieve that information to help in what in decision making. Still, you can say a computer. It is a device that is able to accept what information and manipulate it. And do what manipulate it, or still it is able to use a sequence of instructions to process what the same data together. So you can have several definitions of what of a computer. That is the first what ICT equipment. And I believe in every organization we must have at least a computer together. Because nowadays the information is sort of what in digital format, in the computer. Then another equipment is what we call a photocopy machine. You have a photocopy machine together, and you know very well it is able to what to produce what copies of what of documents. A photocopy machine. So this is an instrument that is able together or that uses light sensitive photographic materials to reproduce written or graphic work. I believe you have ever seen one together. That is second. Then we have a telephone. You know what is a telephone? Is it true? You know what is a fax machine? But I don't believe nowadays. Do we use a fax machine nowadays? Do we use them nowadays? Fax machines?
In government offices.
Yeah, government is the mechanism of the fax machine. But I believe in most of the private institutions, I don't think they use fax machines. Nowadays we don't use them. But in government organizations, they can use what? The fax machines. Then there's what called a printer. You have what? You have a printer. And I believe this was an assignment that I gave you last semester concerning the printers. Were you present concerning the impact and impact printers? Were you present?
No.
It was an assignment I had given. So when we talk about a printer now, this is a device. This is what a device that is able to print out a hard copy. Is able to print a hard copy. Because what happens now, information in the computer is kept in what in soft copy. But in the case now you want to obtain the hard copy, you can use what a printer, and you can have the types of printers. Although we shall discuss them later. Printers can be categorized into two. There is what you call the impact and an impact. Understood? You have the impact and what non-impact. For example, at the impact, you can have what? The DC wheel. Together, you can have what? The DC wheel. You can have the dot matrix. Then, for the non-impact, you can have what? There is a printer. Then you can have what? Inkjet. We shall discuss that later in what? In computer hardware. So these are some of the equipment which are used in what? In organizations. Together. Then, still, you're supposed to know the applications or the uses of ICT in everyday life. Because you know very, very well, ICT has been applied in various areas together in the organizations together, for example, in hospitals together. So I want to discuss as a section now the applications of ICT in the society. And have what? The applications of what? Of ICT in the society. Together. And the first application is in education. Is in what? Education. So ICT is playing a remarkable role in the education sector. For example, teachers or the lecturers, they use ICT to perform research together to obtain what? Teaching materials. Still, we can use ICT when teaching. For example, can have what we call electronic planning together. That is application of ICT in education. Still, we are using the same ICT together for administrative purposes. Still, we are using the same ICT to conduct research. Still, we are using the same ICT to store student information. So that is the first application of ICT in education. Understood? Understood?
Yes.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah. Then still, we can have the application of ICT in banking. Yeah, you know very, very well. In bank, they have to use the computers together. So ICT is able to control the entire banking system together. Is able to control what? The entire banking system. Because now it is known as what? The nerve center of the banking system together. For example, the customers they use ICT to make what? Transactions. For example, in case you just want to deposit some money into your bank account, you make use of ICT, electronic together. You just go to your pay bill, deposit, you put the account number, then you do what you did, you deposit together. That is what the application of what of ICT in the banking. Still in the banking, the bank administrators they can use ICT to control the entire banking system. That is what in the banking. Then still ICT has been applied in e-commerce. Or there is what you call the online shopping, the buying and selling of what? Of goods, the e-commerce. For example, you can have like a Jumia. Is it true? You can have what? Like Jumia or the Kilimall. Nowadays, because you want to buy a TV set, you don't have to go to the store. You can just order the product online. Is it true? Better than Michelle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But let me advise you. Although we are applying ICT in e-commerce, you have to be very, very careful on the product. Sometimes the product they're not of high quality. Is it true? You have to be very, very careful. Be very, very careful as you buy these items online. Yeah, so ICT now has been using what? In e-commerce. Because now the e-commerce it is boosting the economy. It makes buying and the selling of activities. It makes buying and the selling of products and offering the services a bit easier and fun and faster. Still, you have seen in e-commerce, suppliers they can use ICT together to keep track of what of their transactions. The employees they can use ICT. The employees who are working in these e-commerce centers they can use ICT to communicate to their customers. They can respond to the customers what inquiries. That is what application of ICT in e-commerce. Then still, ICT has been employed in the health sector. It has been employed in what? In the health sector, in hospitals. Let me ask you, who can explain the application of ICT in the health sector? I want to hear from you. Who can explain now how we are using ICT in hospitals? Yeah. Who can explain how are you using it in hospitals?
With can you say
Yeah.
with the introduction of computers, one can patients' documents can be stored in the computers, which will help for future reference in case the patient comes back.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Yeah. What else? That is correct from Titus. What about Ezekiel and Michelle? How do we use ICT in hospitals?
Like the current system being used at Kenyatta National Hospital to address the COVID-19 situation. You have multiple doctors from all over the world connecting over MRI scanning machine, so they can share data, compare notes, and new ways of treating certain diseases.
Yeah, that is correct. So you can have research that is video conferencing, nice in the Ministry of Health. What else, Michelle? What else? What else?
Well,
Yes.
okay, the point. They've said my point.
No. What have they said? Because they have said the point now. I want to hear from you. What have they said now? Which are these points they have said?
Okay, well, the way Ezekiel have said, Waidimu said, okay, first, they inform people on the rate of the people who have contracted COVID-19.
Yeah.
And as for Titus, okay, I can't remember his because I'm having difficulties hearing what you guys are saying.
Yeah, but it's maybe because ensure there's the way you are, there's ensure there's network together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
yeah, that is
is.
yeah, that is okay now. So we have said in hospitals now we have said we can use ICT for what, for research. Still, you can use ICT to diagnose what different diseases. For example, even you can use ICT to perform what, ECG. You can use CT scan, ultrasound. Still, we can use the same ICT to do what, to store the information pertaining the patient or pertaining what, the health workers. Then still, ICT has been applied in what, in communication. Together, how has it been applied in communication? I want to hear from you. Communication. How has it been applied in communication? How have it been applied in communication? We can say in communication now, and we have seen nowadays, there's the use of the email. Because many years ago, we used to have the post office. Is it true? Whereby you could send a letter, you could stay for 1 week before delivery. But now we're having an email, electronic mail. You're having social networking groups. You're having voicemail. We're having what? This is what we call the sharing groups together. And now these are the cheapest means of what? Of communication. So that was application of ICT in the society. So we can discuss now the impact of ICT. The impact of ICT in the society. Remember, the impact can be what? Either positive or negative. Understood? And it can be either be positive or negative. So we can start with the positive impact of ICT. One of the positive impact is that there is what we call lower communication cost. Lower communication cost. Actually, using the internet is cost effective than other modes of communication like the telephone, the mailing, or the carrier services. The reason for that, the internet, it allows people to access large amounts of data at very low cost. Together, understood? That is what we call the raw communication cost, and it has been attributed, or it has been as a result of the what, of the internet. Remember, many years ago, I go on the internet in the around 1980s. I go on the internet. I think internet came around 2000. Is that true? I think the year 2000. That is when we had the first internet. And I believe in the year 2000, I don't believe there is one who was born apart from me here. Titus, were you born in 2000? No. We are saying the year 2000. During the introduction of the internet, I don't think there is one who was born here apart from me. Ezekiel, are you present?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I was present.
Yeah, I will prove you are present by answering the questions today. Together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is okay. So that was the first impact, lower communication cost. Then the second impact of ICT, and remember we are discussing what the positive impact together. There is what we call the paperless environment. We have what we call the paperless environment, because now ICT technology has created that environment together. Why? The reason for this nowadays, we store information in digital format, in electronic format. That information is on the computers. So the act of printing the documents, we do not do this. We do not do that nowadays. Or in case we print the documents, we just print res information together. Still, instant messaging is taking place in what? In the computers. That is what we call paperless environment. Remember, many years ago, we used to have books of records together. We have these books of records, and that information could later be kept in the cabinet. And that information could occupy a lot of space. Together. The next impact is what we call reliable mode of communication. Computers are reliable. With the internet, information can be retrieved anywhere at any time. For example, in case I send you an email now, you just switch on or just switch a new tab, then you go to your Gmail account and obtain what? The message. Is it true? Why? There is the use of internet, and you can access the information anytime, anywhere. Then still, another positive impact, there is what we call effective sharing of information. We have what? Effective sharing of what? Information. How can we share this information? For example, we can have what? Discussion groups. We can have forums. We can have meeting register together. And nowadays, the most effective mode of communication, which one is it? Yeah, which is the most effective mode of communication? For example, in case I want to communicate to you very, very easily, which is the best mode of communication? Which one?
Text message.
Text message. What else? What if now I want to communicate to a group of people in the same at the same time and to obtain their feedback or their responses?
Via email.
Their email, that is email. Who else? What else? The most effective. Remember that. The most effective. Remember that.
Boy.
Which is the most effective? The WhatsApp is the most effective. Is it true? Is it true? Because most of you might take some time before they confirm their what? Their email. But in case now I want to just obtain an instant feedback from an individual, I can use a text message. Together, because the text message now it does not require the use of what? Of the internet. Together, still, when you use the WhatsApp now, you can have what? Some limitations in terms of what? Internet access. Together. Yeah. So these were some of the positive impact. There are very many. Maybe we can go to the negative impact now. And for the negative impact now, I want to hear from you. So what are the negative impact of ICT? What are the negative impact? Hassan, good afternoon. What are the negative impact of ICT in the society? There is what you call the first one. There is what you call moral degradation. We have what moral degradation. We have seen, especially now when we are some people are accessing what unethical sites together. Some people are accessing pornographic what sites. And this one affects people's what together. There is what you call moral degradation. Still, another negative impact of ICT. There is what you call fraud. Nowadays, there is a lot of fraud on the internet. Out of what? Out of fraud. Someone might call you together that is calling from a service provider, maybe Safaricom, requires to know your information, and this is what fraud. Still, I think you have seen, especially in banks or in transactions, fraudulent transactions taking place together. For example, someone is able to obtain your ATM card, informs what some fraudulent what transactions together. I think still you have seen there is a lot of hacking nowadays. Together, people are being hacked, accounts are being hacked. You have to be very, very careful together with this. Don't expose your personal information. For example, you have seen your passwords. In the case of for the password now, ensure you're using what a strong password. Then still in case you have an ATM, ensure it is what it is well kept because you have a lot of hacking. Still, there is ICT has caused the problems. Together. For example, in case you use a computer for a long period of time, you can have what some eye problems together. You can have some eye strain together. You can even have what mental stress together. So these are some of the negative impacts. Still, there is what we call identity theft. I think I've just explained that concerning identity theft. So these are some of the negative impact of what of ICT in general. Still, we have fraud, you can have moral degradation, you can have hacking, you can have health problems, you can have what identity theft. Together. Yeah. A question on that? A question? Or any clarification? Or any clarification?
We're now unmuted.
What?
Yes. Yes.
You are now unmuted.
Nilikuwa nauliza can ICT
Yes.
Yes. Negative effects can it imefanya itwaje kukakuwa na less jobs, imepunguza kazi za watu?
Yeah, that is correct. So that is correct. So maybe that point can explain this perspective now with the introduction of computers. Those people who are working in the organization who are not computer literate, together they are laid off. Together, remember the computers, they make the work easier. So in case we have people who are not computer literate, they have to be laid off. Understood? I think that is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, any other question? Hassan, any question? Michelle and Ezekiel, before I proceed?
Okay.
But it's okay. What about Michelle?
Okay.
Yeah, what about Hassan? What about Hassan? Yeah, maybe we can proceed together. We can do what we can proceed. So the next area I want to discuss now is still the introduction. I want to discuss some of the people or some of the personnel in ICT department. Together, for example, can have what the ICT manager, can have what a computer technician, the personnel in ICT. Together. So at this subsection now, I want to discuss together their responsibilities. Their what? Their responsibilities together. For example, maybe you can start with the role of the ICT manager. Together, who is the ICT manager? For example, the first role of the ICT manager now, it is to manage information technology in the computer system. Together, that is the first role of ICT manager, to manage the information technology in computer system. Remember, the ICT manager is the person responsible, or he is the overall person who manages the entire department in a company. For example, in case you have some audit systems that are supposed to be, or some systems that are supposed to be audited, it is the work of the ICT manager. You're together. Still, it is the work of the ICT manager to ensure there is data security. You're together. That the organization is having what backup system. Together. For example, you can have what a local backup. You can have a cloud backup. Together. You can have what incremental backup. In the case now, the server, or in case you're having a database organization that has corrupted, information can be restored in the what? In the backup system. So it is the work of that manager to ensure we have what? Enough what? Backup. Together. Still, it is the same work of the ICT manager to prepare the budget. Together, prepare the budget of the department. And he has to ensure it is what? Cost effective. Understood? So these are some of the responsibilities of the ICT manager. Still, he's the person responsible for coming up with policies. Together, remember the policies, they provide some guidelines, or they provide some rules to be followed in the in the department. Have you understood some of the rules of the of the ICT manager? Any question on that? Or any clarification? Maybe you can proceed to the next personnel in the ICT department. There is a person we call a computer technician. A computer technician. Before I proceed, maybe I can ask you, in ICT, in ICT, and you want to believe maybe in the future you have an objective or a career objective you want to be, either an ICT manager, a technician, a software engineer. Let me ask you, fighters, what is your career objective as we discuss the personnel in the ICT department?
You are now unmuted.
Kati ya technician na
I'm saying this. Yeah, because we are discussing some of the personnel in the ICT department. Together we can have so you must be having a career. What is your career objective? An ICT manager. You want to be a technician, another administrator. What is the career objective?
You are now unmuted.
I'll go with an ICT manager.
You are now unmuted.
Nimepoteza audio mwalimu, sikusikii.
Yeah. What is the career objective? Or what about Ezekiel and Michelle? I want to hear from you.
Maybe I'll be a data scientist with a bit of programming.
So programming, that is good. What about Michelle?
You are now unmuted.
A hacker.
Data. That is, you're joking. You'll be jailed. But there's what you call ethical hacking. And together we have ethical hacking. And together, or still we can have people who are called the testers. And together, these are the people now who are able to identify the faults in a system. They're able to identify the weaknesses or the vulnerabilities in a system. And together, that is correct. Yeah, you can have it stated as what an ethical hacker or a security personnel. And together, as a security personnel. And together, status. It's not about
You are now
Michelle. It's not
unmuted.
about Michelle.
Mwalimu,
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
unaona kwa hizi movies kunakuwa na these IT guys wanakuwa so good at wanakuwa hackers, wanakuwa so good at that job.
But I'm saying sectors. Maybe there's we maybe can be a cybersecurity analyst together, cybersecurity person together. The people who are, for example, you identify there's a, for example, in a system there's a vulnerability together, or there's a loophole. You identify what these problems together. They are called maybe an ethical hacker together. Yeah. What about Michelle?
Do you mind repeating the question again?
I'm asking because we are discussing some of the personnel in the ICT department. I'm asking maybe your objective because we're discussing these people.
Oh, okay. Well,
So you are still not sure. What about Hassan? What about Hassan? Hassan? But it's good you at least have one together. The next personnel is whom we call a computer technician together. So what are the responsibilities of a computer technician? First of all, the technician is the person who is responsible for installing the software and the hardware. For example, maybe a computer requires an operating system, or you want to change now from 7 to Windows 10. It's the work of the computer technician. Still, he is the person responsible for installing the computer hardware. In case now you're having a computer and maybe there's a problem in the motherboard and you want to install a new motherboard, it is the work or it is the responsibility of that technician. Still, he is the person responsible for troubleshooting different computer issues. In case your computer is not displaying information on the screen, or in case now there is a problem with your computer network, or still in case there is a problem with your Wi-Fi, or maybe, for example, a certain program is not working properly. It is the work of the technician. Still, in case now you want to configure the networks, maybe you want to install a LAN together. In case you want to install a WAN together, or you want to configure a certain router, it's the work of that technician. So we can say in general, is the person responsible for providing what? Technical support. Understood? Is the person responsible for providing what? Technical support. Still, he has to maintain and manage what? Workstations. Even the servers, it is his responsibility to manage what? The servers. So these are some of the duties and the responsibility of what? Of a computer technician. Any question? Yeah. Any question? Yeah, that was the introduction. That was the introduction. Yeah. And I'm doing the introduction to ICT. I'm doing that. I think the people who are absent now, Titus and Ezekiel, I hope now you are okay. The introduction.
You are now unmuted.
It's okay.
Do you have any question before I proceed, Titus and Michelle? I'm doing the introduction. Any question before I proceed? Yeah, in case of no question, we can proceed now to the next topic. Remember, you're revising. I'm looking into the introduction. Now, the next topic you're supposed to know is what you call the computer system. Together, maybe you can display the components of computer system. Let me just display them. Let me just see the screen. Let me just show you something here. Let me screen. Yeah, I hope you're able to see this diagram. Writers and Hassan. Are you able to see it? See it? This is what we call a computer system. Together, this is what we call a computer system. Together, we can see several what? Several devices. Yeah. Now, so you have the speakers are here. You can have the monitor, what you call the video, keyboards together. We can see that we have the mouse. So this is the concept of a computer system, and I believe everyone have interacted with the one together. Yeah. I don't believe that there is someone who have not used the word, or there is someone who have not interacted with a computer system together. So topic 2 now, I want to discuss what you call the computer systems. So together we have what? The computer systems. And that now is supposed to be knowing the features or the attributes of a computer. So you're supposed to be knowing the classifications of computers. Remember, computers can be classified based on various categories. For example, you can have classification based on what? Generation. You can have classification based on what? Data processing. You can have classification based on size, or classification based on what? Based on
Capability.
and even you have what? Capability together, or that we call the purpose. So let me ask you, which are these features of a computer? The characteristics of a computer. Characteristics of a computer. Now, which are these? In case you're requested to explain the characteristics, which are these?
They are versatile.
Yes, pardon?
Versatility.
Yeah, explain versatility. That is correct. Explain versatility. Explain.
They can perform both complex and simple tasks with no problem.
Yeah, that is correct. Also, you can say that the computer can do the same thing day in, day out, or over and over again without becoming tired or worn out together. That is what versatility. What else? Then you can have there's what called the speed. Together, the speed. Computers are able to work at a very high speed to process information as compared to the manual work. You can have what the speed. Still you can have what efficiency. Together, the computers are able to do what? To save time and cost. What else? What about data? What else? Then still there is what we call accuracy. Together, as opposed to human beings, computers are extremely accurate. They are what? They're extremely accurate. But listen here very, very carefully. Computers can only be accurate as long as the person who is keying in the information is what is accurate. Understood? You have to be very, very careful on that point. Then still you can have volume. Together, a computer is able to handle large volumes of information. Remember, it has what? A hard disk. It has what? A large memory. For example, in case you have 500 gigabytes, because that is what a large memory. Still, we can have what we call there is what we call secrecy. Information can be kept in secretive nature. Why? The reason for that, we can have a password. In case you do not have the password to a computer, there is no you can do what you can access the information. So what that password is able to prevent legitimate or the unauthorized personnel from accessing the information. So these form some of the attributes of computers. And some of them, that is what the advantages. Together, the art is what is the advantages. So, what if the person now to explain the disadvantages of computers? What are these? One of the disadvantages of computers is what we call unemployment. In case now an organization has introduced computers, and most people are not they are computer illiterate, the organization has to lay off these workers. Understood? But still, computers have created employment for those people who are what? Computer literate. Together. Still, there is what you call computer crimes. Nowadays, hacking together. People are using computers for negative activities. For example, hacking of credit card numbers. You can have identity theft. You can have what spoofing together. You can have man in the middle attacks together. Still, there is what you call the health issues. For example, if you use the computer for a long period of time, you can have a problem in your eyes together. So you can have what a back pain together, or you can have what you call the eye strain together. Still, there is what you call wastage of time and money. Most of you spend a lot of time in the computers. Is that true, Titus? And Ezekiel, most of you spend a lot of time. Most of you
You
spend a
are
lot
now muted.
Is it true? Is it true?
You are now unmuted.
No, not that much.
Hey, Titus, there's a problem. Titus, there's a problem with your mic. Let me just say first. Yeah, because I'm saying most of you, they spend a lot of time in the computer together. So computers now they can cause what waste of time and energy together. Yeah, because most of you they spend a lot of time without what positive purpose together. For example, playing games. Most of you are playing FIFA day in day out every day. Some of you are missing classes, and I believe some of you are playing FIFA. That is a what a waste of what energy and time using what a computers together. Then still there is what you call privacy violation together. There is what you call privacy violation. Together. The computers are used to store personal information about the people. But now this privacy can be what? Can be violated. In case now information is not kept properly, it is accessed by a third party and used against the company. That is what we call privacy violation. Still, there is what we call moral degradation. You have what? Moral degradation. People are using computers to access what? Pornographic sites. And this one has affected people's what? Passions together. So these are some of the disadvantages of what of computer. So you're supposed to know the application of computers. You have seen the same application of the same application of ICT can be the same application of what of computers. You can have them in business, you can have them in banking, you can have them in education, marketing, insurance, military, and what engineering is the same what in the government. Understood? So these are some of the applications of computers. Then the next part now I want to discuss now, the last part for today, I want to discuss the classification of computers. I have what? The classification of computers. I have said computers can be categorized based on four things. The first one I shall discuss is what you call the classification based on generation. Classification based on generation. And here we have 5 generations. We have what? 5 generations. And from these generations now, you're supposed to be knowing the characteristics of each. Have what? And each generation has at least 5. So you must be doing 25 points here. You must be doing what? 25 points. And before I forget, on Monday, I will prepare a pre-mock. For the next exam, I'll prepare one. So maybe we'll sit on it on Monday, the class time. That's good. If I forget, I'll prepare one. It will be online.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is okay together. So you prepare very well. So the first characteristic we shall discuss now, what we call the first generation computers. The first what? Generation computers. And this was now, they were developed in the early 1940s. In the early 1940s. I think I was just the person who was available during the 1940s. No one else apart from me was available in the 1940s. This is where now I come in together. You see now, yeah, then from the 20th century. Remember, you're in the 21st. I was in the 20th century together. So the first generation, yeah, understood. So they were developed in the 1940s together. And these computers now, they were large in size. They were enormous together. Even they used to occupy a small room. They were large in size. Still, the same computers, they produce a lot of heat. out of what? A lot of heat. And you know very, very well, in case now they're able to produce a lot of heat, they used to break it down very easily. Understood? Are you getting the features of these computers? You have seen the
Yes.
first one, they were developed in the 1940s, they were enormous, or what you call the margin size together. And you have said they were able to produce a lot of heat. In case now they were producing a lot of heat, they used to break it down very easily. Still, they use the vacuum tube as their key what? Electronic device. And I believe most of the TVs today, or most of the computers today, they do not use the vacuum tubes. They use what is called the microprocessor or the CPU. Together. Then still, these computers they were expensive. What? They were expensive. In the last attribute, the speed was 40,000 operations per second. Not only I'll share a copy of this. I'm saying the speed was what? 40,000 operations per second. So these computers were very, very slow. Together, very, very slow. You could have switched it on. You switch it on. It could have taken even 2 hours to boot. Just imagine 2 hours to boot. Together. They were very, very slow. Then there is what we call the second generation computers now. So for this one now, as you explain this point now, you're supposed to compare the attribute of the second and what the first. For example, they were developed in the what early 1950s. Together, early 1950s. Remember the first one, the first generation, 1940s. But for this one is what 1950s. For this one, the speed of this one was 200,000 operations per hour per second. That was the speed. For the first one was what 40,000. The second generation were a bit fast. Were a bit what? Were a bit fast. Then still, they were smaller in size and they were less expensive as compared to the first what? Generation computers. They were smaller in size and less expensive. Now, these computers now, they use what we call the transistor as their key electronic device, the transistor. So what happened now, they replaced the vacuum tube with a what? With a transistor. Understood? You able to get the points clearly. Have you seen the various stages that took place between 1947? You see that? Yeah, so you have to look them very, very carefully together. That was the second. Then there is what you call the third generation computer. And for this one now, it was just an improvement. Together, it was just what? An improvement of the second. It was just an improvement. So for this one now, they were developed in the early 1960s. They were smaller in size and they were less expensive as compared to the first and what and second. Then still, the speed of these computers now improved. Remember, in the second, the speed was what 200,000 operations per hour per second. But now, for the third generation, the speed was 1 million. Together, and it's even today, the computers of today, the speed is what 1 million operations per hour per second. And these computers were multitasking in nature. They were what? They were multitasking what in nature. For example, you could listen to some music at the same time. You are typing what a document, or you are formatting what a document. But now the major improvement here still. Remember, in the second now they were using the transistor as what their key electronic device. So in the third now they replaced the transistor together with what you call the integrated what circuit together. The integrated circuit and IC together. Then this terminology is used in a radio. Kuna IC together. For example, kama radio kishomeka ni kushomeka ni IC together. So now these computers now they were using the IC together. The integrated circuit is their what electronic device. Understood? Are you getting the points clearly? Then there is what you call the fourth. You have what? There is what you call the fourth. There is what you call the fourth. And now the fourth now, it was just an improvement. Together, it was just what? An improvement of the what? Of the third. So this was now, they were developed in the early what? 1980s. They used what you call a microprocessor or the microchip. And you see in the computers of today, they use what the microchip together. and what we call the CPU together. So what they did now, they replaced the IC with the what? Microprocessor. These computers, they were still multitasking mission. You could format a document at the same time you're doing what? There is some music. Still, these computers, they were less expensive and faster than the fast record and what? And that. And still the speed remains the same. Speed is up to 1 million operations power per second. Then there is what we call the fifth generation computers. There is what we call the fifth generation computers. Who knows the year they were developed? Because the fourth, they were developed in the 1980s.
The fifth came in around 2010.
Yeah?
2010.
2010. What about Titus and Michelle and Hassan? Yes, Titus and Michelle and Hassan. When? And Hassan, when?
You are now unmuted.
Fifth generation.
When? Which year? When? Which year?
1990s.
Yeah, what about Michelle and Hassan? Which year? Yeah, the correct year was what? 1990s. Put together 1990s. And still, these computers are development. The development of the generation is still what? Ongoing. It is still evolving. And after these computers now, they are portable in nature. You can carry them from one place to another place together. And they're using what we call, there is what we call the skill integration together. This is what we call the skill integration technology together, the VLSI together. They're using that. And I've said they're still evolving. So that was the classification based on what? Based on education based on purpose.
Mwalimu, I have a question.
Yeah, yes, you can ask.
Aren't the fifth generation computers artificial intelligence and machine learning?
That is correct. Robotics, machine learning, and AI, they are fields. That is correct.
So, is it really 1990s?
Yeah, the first one is no. What we do, we confirm the first one was developed, and in this country, maybe it is in maybe 2005, but in other countries that is around what 1990s. Yeah, remember we are in the third world countries. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is it. Then there is what we call the classification based on what? Based on purpose. And here we have two. There is what we call the special purpose, and there is what we call the general purpose. And the special purpose now, these are the computers that are used together to perform specific functions. Together, computers that are used to perform what? Specific functions. And for example, like they're used in medicine, engineering, or manufacturing. Then there is what we call the general purpose computers, like what we use in our homes, in schools, in organizations. General purpose computers communication, you can use them for account or storage. Understood? Understood?
Yes.
That is okay. Then we can discuss the classification based on what? Based on data processing. Together. And here we have three. Classification based on what? Based on data processing. We can have what we call the digital computers. Remember, the computers that we're using nowadays, these are what? Digital computers. And the reason for that now, they're able to store data information or data in what? In binary format. Either zeros and what? And one and ones. So you can say this is the process data that is represented of what? Discrete values. Together, discrete values. And you have said information here is kept in binary zeros and ones. Then there is what we call the analog computers. Together. And for these now, they are used together for measuring physical magnitude and pressure. Together. Still, they can be used for either scientific, engineering, purposes. Pamoja. Are you together?
Yes.
Yeah, that is okay. I have to ensure you are here, you're not sleeping. I have to ensure you are here. Then there is what you call the hybrid computers. You have discussed the digital computers. Then there is what you call the analog. Then you have the hybrid. The term hybrid means what? A combination. So for these computers now, they're able to depict both the features of the digital and what? Analog computers. And most of these now, they're used in research institutions and what? It is of what? Of engineering. So that was the classification based on what? Based on data processing. Then the last classification is what you call the classification based on size. Classification based on size. And here we have four. There is what you call the first one, the supercomputers. We have what we call the computers. And these are the largest and most powerful. Together. And for this was now, they have capability or they are capable of processing large amount of data at a very what? At a very faster rate. Then there is what we call the mainframe computers. For the mainframe now, they can perform the same functions as what the supercomputers, but the difference is that they are less expensive together than what the supercomputers. And for this one now, they are used in engineering organization, can be used in what manufacturing what organization. Then there is what we call the mini computers. We have supercomputers, mainframe. Then you have what the mini computers. And for this one now, these are the computers that are used by small businesses, like now in organizations, in departments, or together in cyber cafes, or in farms. We use what? The mini computers. Sometimes they are called what? The mid-range computers. Are together? Yeah. Then there is what we call the microcomputers. There is what we call the microcomputers. Actually, these computers, these are the smallest. Together, these are the smallest computers ever to be invented. For example, you can have the laptop. You can have what? A laptop. We can have a smartphone. Together, you can have the PGAs. Together, not the PG, the PDs. Together, the personal digital assistant. Together, you can have the notebook. Together, the smallest computers ever to be invented. And these computers now, the microcomputers, they are portable. You can carry them from this place to this place. And through. That was the classification of computers. Any question? Any question or clarification? And because I think that is enough for today. And for those people who are not present in the previous introduction class now, last semester, what does an Ezekiel? I'll post this notes together. I'll post them here together on this class. Together, you can access them.
Okay.
Any other question? Any question? Yeah, in case of no question, so there's a question I'm going to leave here for the discussion. Immediately after this, from now you can work on it together. Let me just post it. You work on it. I'm so at least the class was relevant today, and I'm so grateful. Together, at least even next time, be yeah. I like that cooperation, and at least it was interactive. That so that is good work. Yeah, for the Ezekiel, for the past papers now, I can share the link. Together, I can share the link now, whereby you can just click the link, then you open the past paper together.
Okay.
I've posted, so just work on the discussion question, just work on it and have a good evening. I'll mark.